Hello, welcome to a new episode about using FreeCAD 1.1 together with the CAM workbench to generate G-code for the CNC. In this video, we are going to talk about the Helix operation, which allows us to create helical toolpath for round holes. And I will also show you another method of creating helical toolpaths for holes that are not accepted as base geometry for the Helix operation. As you know, all these videos are free, you can watch them anytime, everything there is to know about the CAM workbench. And if you want to support me but you want to have a benefit for yourself at the same time, you can go to my Ko-Fi page where you can buy the FreeCAD CAM 1.1 book, be it in a digital version or in the physical version. There you will have all the operations, all the dress-ups, everything there is to know about the CAM workbench in a single place, easily accessible at any time. So follow the link in the description and you will find both versions of the book, the digital one and the physical version. I want to thank everybody that's supporting me, be it here on YouTube, on my Patreon page, where by subscribing you will get access to the entire series and all the other videos on my channel without any interruptions, without ads, or on my Ko-Fi page where you will find all the macros that I use in my videos, which you can download for free or together with a small donation. The Helix operation is used to mill round holes. The difference between the Helix operation and the drill operation is that the Helix operation can create any dimension of holes as long as it is larger than the toolbit's diameter. You can see that I have in just one operation various dimensions of holes, and that happens because the Helix operation will create consecutive toolpaths with a certain step over that I can program in the operation, and it will make several spirals until the diameter of the hole is reached. The Helix operation works just for circular objects, that is, circles or arcs. I can also create a Helix operation for this arc here, for these two arcs at the end of this slot. The slot, as you see it on the screen, is not made using a Helix operation, but a combination of a pocket operation and a dress-up. I will explain how to get a helical toolpath for other shapes other than round shapes at the end of this video. I've deleted the operations that I already had created. If you are not sure how to set up the job, how to set up the model, the toolbits, everything there is to know about the job, watch all the other videos about the job creation. I know that they might seem too much for the beginning, but once you know how to create the job and how to set up everything, you are more than halfway there into understanding how FreeCAD CAM works. Now let's create a new Helix operation by clicking on its button in the toolbar. Because I only had one job in the document, it's created the Helix operation automatically in that job. If I had two or more jobs, it would have asked me which job I want the Helix operation created in. Let's click on the Apply button to see the default behavior. You can see that the Helix operation, even without selecting some base geometry, automatically detects all the holes in the models and tries to create a toolpath for all of them. Now let's scroll down to the base geometry to see what we have here. We have a list of all the holes that we have in the model, each with a diameter. The diameter here doesn't influence the toolpath in any way, is there just so we understand the correspondence between the face and the hole in the 3D view. The Helix operation detects by itself all the holes in the model, but what it doesn't detect is the arcs. So if we want to create a circular toolpath for one of the arcs, for example this one, we need to select either the top or the bottom edge and click on the Add button. You can see it added here, and now clicking on the Apply button modified the toolpath. Even though I have selected an arc, the toolpath will still be a circle, a full circle. Depending on the situation, this might overcut the model, so the Helix is not the solution in such a situation. Another thing that you might have noticed when adding this arc, and I will set a side orthographic view, you can see that all the holes are milled up to this faces level. They don't go all the way, and that is because the Helix operation only has one final depth. This means that if I have several holes with several depths, I will need to create a different Helix operation for each of those depths. But let's remove the arc and let's stick to the round holes for now. Let's click on the remove button. And now you can see that the Helix toolpath is going all the way up to the bottom faces of these 4 holes. Their depth is equal because I've created them in just one pocket when creating the model. In the base geometry, we also have a check next to each of the holes, so unchecking one of the holes will avoid making the toolpath for that one. This is useful in a lot of situations. Remember this, you can check or uncheck holes without having to remove them from the base geometry. The final depth is calculated automatically, as I told you, based on the highest bottom face of all the holes checked in the base geometry. If I want to set a custom final depth, I cannot modify the value here because it is based on an expression. You can see the dark blue icon here. I have to click on the expression editor, click on the reset button, and now when it's light blue, I can modify the value here. Let's set it to 17 millimeters. And now the toolpath will stop 2 millimeters higher than it originally did. The same applies for the start depth, which is again based on an expression, and it will start at the top of the stock. In the case of the Helix operation, because I don't have a layered toolpath as usual, the step down represents the total height that the toolbit will be lowered with for a full 360 degrees rotation. This means in my situation where I have a step down of 3 millimeters, the toolbit will be lowered 3 millimeters for each full complete circle. The clearance height and the safe height are the same as with any other operation. The clearance height is the height at which the toolbit moves before and after the entire operation. The safe height is the height at which the toolbit moves when using G0 commands between the elements of the operation. So if I change this safe height, which for now it's equal to the clearance height, let's change it again, edit the expression, reset, and let's set it to 40 millimeters. The movement between the holes should have been made at 40 millimeters. But as with many other operations in the FreeCAD CAM workbench, sometimes the safe height is not taken into account. The operation uses only the clearance height. So when we want the toolbit to travel at a lower height, let's say I don't have any obstacles, so there's no reason to waste the time lifting the toolbit all the way to 60 millimeters, I can just set a clearance height of 40 millimeters and the toolbit will travel much lower. Now let's go to the top to the Helix operations specific settings. I can select a different tool controller just as with any operation. I can copy the tool bits and create a new tool controller, make its own settings. I can add a new one. I can edit this one by checking this box, which I really don't recommend. And I don't recommend editing the tool controller inside an operation, no matter what type of operation it is. That is because all these changes that I make here regarding this toolbit controller will be applied to any other operation that uses the same tool controller. This means that maybe in this operation I might need a much higher horizontal feed speed, but for another operation, for a pocket operation for example, the speed that I set here might be way too much. Changing it here will also affect that other operation. So if I want certain speeds, certain feed speeds for these toolbits, I recommend just copying it to a new one and making the settings which will only affect this toolbit, the one that I have created for this operation. You can see now that I have two 6mm and mil001, the one that I already had in the job, and 6mm and mil002, the one that has been copied, which I can now modify. Let's set a horizontal feed speed of 1500 millimeters per minute. I can also set a different spindle speed for the toolbit. If I need it to spin at 20,000 RPM, I can change it from here. In the operation specific section, I have this very important setting which is called start from. It has two possible values, outside or inside. With the start from set to outside, the first spiral that is going to be milled is going to be the outside spiral. Setting the start from to inside, the first spiral will be the smallest one in the center here. The difference is obvious, it's the place where the toolbit starts, but why does this matter? What is the difference between the two and when to use each of the two? Let's open the simulator. Let's go to this hole. You can see that it starts milling from the inside. This means that each time the toolbit cuts something, the surrounding material is firmly connected to the entire model. There's absolutely no risk of debris flying around. But for the final pass, because the toolbit is only cutting, it only has material on one side. On this side it is cutting, on this side it has just empty space. This means that depending on the toolbit diameter on the material it is made from, it might suffer a small deflection to the inside, meaning the final diameter of the hole might be a little smaller. So why not always set the start from to outside? Let's go back to the simulator. And let's go to the same hole. Now obviously the cutter has material on both sides, which means the diameter most probably will be exactly as I've set it. And up to the final passes, this is a good thing. But when I only have a small piece of material left in the center, you can see I only have a very small piece of material here. It might break, hitting the walls, going back into the cutter, some damage might occur. The good thing is that it gets the diameter correctly. The direction of cut has the two usual values, the climb and the conventional cut. The climb cut is the one where the toolbit rotates away from the material that is going to be milled. In a conventional cut, the toolbit will rotate into the material that is going to be cut. The step over percent is the distance between two consecutive spirals. A 50%, because the step over is a percent, means the distance between two consecutive spirals is going to be 50% of the toolbit diameter. Just as with any other operation, the step over percent is a percentage of the toolbit's diameter. In this case, if I have a 6 mm end mill and a step over of 50%, the default value for the Helix operation, the distance between two consecutive spirals is going to be 3 mm. Setting a step over of 100%, the range, obviously since it is a percentage, is 0 to 100, will only make 3 passes, each at 6 mm compared to the previous one. Let's set again a top view, because I'm going to tell you about the extra offset, which determines if the hole is going to be larger or a smaller hole. If you want a smaller hole, you will have to set an extra offset with a positive value. If you want to be larger, you will set a negative value. But no matter what the extra offset is, what the diameter of the hole is, what the step over is, let's change it back to 50%, the Helix toolpath will always mill the entire hole. Starting from the center, just follow one spiral after the other until the entire area of the hole is milled. We can change that behavior, but not in the Helix dialog, not in this usual dialog. We need to go to the Data tab. Here we have one additional value compared to the ones in the Edit dialog, which is called Start Radius. Let's set this to 3 mm. Click somewhere away, and this means that the first toolpath is going to leave a 6 mm material that is not going to be cut. This doesn't affect the holes that have only one toolpath, but what can happen, let's set a higher value this time, let's set a value of 12 mm. For the holes that have more than one toolpath, I will have this buggy behavior, because the start radius will create the first spiral outside of the actual hole, meaning I will have a mess here. So remember, only use start radius when you are sure that this radius here is not going to be larger than the largest of the toolpaths created by a normal operation. By changing the depth of this hole, some faces naming has changed. Now the operation that we already had set up here fails. You can see the warning sign, and an invalid shape name error. If I double click on it and try to change the base geometry, you can see that I don't have the tool controller, I don't have any of the settings, they are just some basic values, I don't have the base geometry. Most probably I need to delete this operation and create it again. You don't actually need to delete it. What you need to do is go to the base property, click on the three little dots, and in this pop-up menu, click on the clear button, click on OK. Now click away from the operation and you can see the error has gone. Now let's double click on the Helix operation, let's go to the base geometry and click on the reset button, which now redetects all the circular features in the object based on the new face's name, so this one won't fail anymore. The final depth is going to be given by the highest of the holes. In my case, is no longer the situation because I've set a final depth, I've set a manual value, but I can go back to the expression editor and write here up final depth, which will again base this value on the calculated final depth of the operation. But the final depth of this operation is going to be the depth of the least deep object. So if I have one object that is just 1 millimeter deep, all the other holes are only going to be milled up to 1 millimeter. How to solve this? Let's first identify which of the holes is this one. I can click on it and look here, it's called face 20, and I can see that it is the last one in the tree. Or moving the selection with the up and down arrows will highlight them in the 3D view. Let's uncheck this object, and now I need to click on one of the values and click away, so the apply button is enabled. Click on it, and now all these three holes are milled exactly as I want. Let's click on the OK button, and now let's select the Helix operation to create another one for this hole too. Of course, I could use the Helix button, but I made some settings here. Start radius, the cut mode, I've changed it, so I don't want to waste the time to repeat all those settings. So the easiest method is to use this button, copy operation. The newly created Helix operation will obviously have the exact same settings as the previous one. That means that also the base geometry is going to be the same. Let's edit it, go to the base geometry group, and check the holes that were already milled by the previous Helix operation. As you can see, I still have the problem with the final depth. That happens because I still have these three objects in the base geometry, so just unchecking them won't modify the final depth. I need to select them and click on the remove button. Now clicking on the apply button has modified the final depth. You can see the toolpath going all the way to the bottom. You can also see here that it changed to 10 millimeters. But I told you earlier that I will show how to mill this slot which is not accepted as base geometry for a Helix operation. I told you that I will show you how to mill it with a toolpath that is still helical. Let's create a new pocket operation with the default settings. Now that the pocket operation has been created, let's go to the dress ups and add a ramp entry dress up. The default settings are simply horrible and the ramp entry doesn't have any edit panels, so we will have to set everything in the data tab. Let's change the ramp method to Helix, check the use start depth, and now the toolpath is going to be created in a helical path. You need to know that this toolpath is not always perfect, so make sure you inspect the toolpath, maybe use the simulator to double check that the toolbit is not going to go where you don't need it to go. If you need more information, you can find it in the FreeCAD CAM 1.1 book, which I remind you can buy either in a digital or in a physical version by visiting the link in the description. Thank you for watching and see you next time.